So, you want to learn how to paint a cute little baby chick with a little more detail than is typically found around these parts? I'm going to show you my process. From the tools I use, my atypical technique, and tips along the way. Sound good? First off, you'll need some watercolor pencils if you'd like to try my techniques. I like to use the pencil version of watercolors because I feel like I have more control over the pigment, and I can also create more detail. But you can follow along if regular watercolors are all you have. You just may have to allow for extra drying time between the steps. You'll also need some paintbrushes of various sizes. I like a medium to small brush for the first couple steps. And then I work with the tiny detail brushes like these silver ultra minis. You can find them on Amazon. I'll link them below. Let's talk about paper. You're going to want to use watercolor paper. This makes all the difference when working with watercolors because it has the thickness necessary to accept the water we'll be using. But my favorite is the Arches cold pressed because it has a nice smooth finish to it. I also like to finish off my illustrations with a little bit of line work, and for that, I use the Micron fine tip pens. Okay, let's get started. We're going to start our chick illustration with a light pencil drawing. I don't put a lot of detail into this step. It is important though. It's usually just an outline of the overall shape, and maybe I'll add his eyes as a reference point for later. I did a quick Google search to find a couple images I'm using for reference. When you've finished your sketch, that's when the fun begins. We're just going to start with a yellow or gold watercolor pencil, and we'll go over our pencil lines. This is going to give our first layer a place to stop when we add water, but at the same time, it will melt together and form kind of a softer line, you'll see. Now for our base layer. Typically, that's the lightest color overall. In this case, it's a soft yellow. Let's also grab a light tan, maybe even a little orange or reddish brown for the shadows of his body. So with our watercolor pencils, we're just going to color our sketch, paying attention to where the shadows fall on his body. This will give us a solid base layer that we're going to build upon. The harder you press with your watercolor pencils, the more pigment will be laid down. So you can see I press a little harder in the shadowy areas. Okay, then with a medium brush, we add a little water and watch the magic happen. Oh, battery died here, so please forgive me that you didn't actually get to see that magic take place. But you can see how the colors have melted into one another, right? You get a really authentic and sometimes surprising effect. I like to work in layers so every part of him gets a first coat before we get into the details. Here, I'm just deepening some of our shadows with a reddish brown. Maybe even some dark brown for the creases in his neck. We can also use this to start putting in some shadows on his legs and under his little wing. And again, let's add some water and let the pigment melt into the previous layer. At this point, let's color in his eye and watch him come to life. Now we're getting somewhere. Let's get in close and start adding some detail to his face. On his beak, I'm using red-orange to define the lines and then coloring in with our yellow and light orange for midtones. A little touch of brown for the shadows. I think I may have used a bit too much brown, so I'm going in to kind of mute that with a little bit of white. Now, with our white gouache, let's add some highlights for yet another layer of definition. We'll use it to separate his upper and lower beak. The highlights on his face and eye, and then start defining some feathers on his chest, his little wing, and then that tuft on the back of his head and tail. I just continue to work those places the light hits most, softening the gouache lines by adding a little water here and there. Once I'm happy with the vibrancy of the highlights, I like to go back and work the shadows a little more. Let's grab our brown and your favorite orange and deepen those shadows a little. Working mostly around his wing, his neck, and the feathers on his face. See how the contrast starts to make him pop? If you're having fun and learning something, please give this video a thumbs up or leave me a comment below. It helps me to know I'm on the right track and even how I can make the next video better for you. Then we can use those same techniques on his legs. I'm using a red-orange for the mid-tone shadows, and then I come back in with a dark brown for the spots that get the least amount of light, like right where his legs connect to his body. You'll probably want to sharpen your pencils often at this point, so keep a pencil sharpener handy. I like this one by Ashton and Wright. Picked it up on Amazon a couple years ago. I'll link it below. I like to give everything one more touch of color, usually with my colored pencils now. Just adding a little more pigment in spots that maybe got a little washed out. And even warming up areas with a little more saturation, like I'm doing with the yellow and gold. Then, with our white color pencil, we can soften some of his feathers. You might find that you have to press way harder than you have been in order to get that soft, airbrushed feel. That's just how it is with white. It works though. And then once again, with a sharp, dark brown, I'm going back into those shadows for one last bit of depth. Before I call it done, I like to take my fine tip black pen and very gently give some outlines, like on the bottom of his feet, his beak, and even around his body. Now these are very fine, broken lines, just to add emphasis to his sweet, fuzzy baby fur. There, I think he's finished. I hope you had fun painting with me. If you enjoyed drawing that chicken, I think you'll like this one next.